All right.
By the way, thank you really much again for taking the time today, even that I'm late.
Oh, not a
really
problem.
Appreciate it.
No, should be fun.
Okay.
All right, Rookmate. So let me tell you for about 5 minutes my philosophy on how to learn chess, and then we'll get into the lesson. Okay?
Yeah, for sure. But maybe if you can to speak a bit slowly because I'm not a native speaker, as you can hear. So I need a bit of time to think about it.
Okay, will do. All right. So for me, learning chess or anything really is about 3 things. One is pattern recognition. So for chess, that is what are common moves or plans in positions like the one you're looking at. And the second is crisp, clean calculation, being able to look moves ahead relatively quickly and accurately. And then the third...
Like calculations, also visualization. Or
yes.
Yes.
The moves that you consider come from your pattern recognition, but your ability to look forward and visualize accurately comes from your calculation. And then the third part is the competitive or sportsmanlike characteristics, like how to manage your time, concentrating for long periods of time without, part of it's an endurance issue. How to not get rattled, when you've done a couple of bad moves in a row or lost a couple of games, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So really it's just those 3 things, and the most important 2 by far in my mind is the pattern recognition and the calculation. So what we're going to do in this lesson is I'm going to just pick one pattern that we're going to do over and over. And that's practice in calculation and for that pattern. And then we'll look over your games and look for patterns there.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing we're doing is mate rooks. Every single one of these problems is a mate rook theme.
So I should think at the first and then tell you my moves?
Yeah.
Maybe move it afterwards or while I'm thinking?
Calculate it all the way to the end. It's not necessarily a forced mate every time, but there's a rook mate theme in the solution.
All right. So, like this one, this here is the first puzzle, is it?
Yeah, and when it's 1-0, it means it's white to move, and when it's 0-1, it means it's black to move.
So now it's white to move, right?
White, correct.
Okay, so let me think actually. The situation looks really complicated.
Yeah.
But let me try. Like the first thing that comes to mind is that I don't really see a mate there or some really strong moves at the start. But the first thing that comes to my mind is doubling up the rooks on the d-file. I think this wouldn't be that bad. But let me check for other stuff. This puzzle is actually pretty hard, but let me see.
It's really hard if you don't know the pattern, and it's really easy if the pattern is familiar. So if we've done a few of these, this will start being easy. There's
Okay.
In situations like this, it's good to look at very forcing moves like checks and captures.
forcing moves in this situation.
Yeah, so even dumb-looking moves that are very forcing, just to see if where it leads to.
Okay. Like maybe even playing queen to f3 to just double up the pressure on the knight. If he plays rook c8,
Mm-hmm.
if he plays rook c8, you maybe double up our rooks then.
So that's a good forcing move in that it threatens a piece. Let's try the most forcing moves, like ones where he only has one or two legal responses.
Like I'm thinking of sacrifice, but it doesn't really look good to me.
All right, what sacrifice are you thinking of?
Oh wait, maybe rook h6. If he takes there with the pawn, I have first of all the queen check on f6, and then he must go. Then he must go with the king to f8. And if he goes with the king to f8, this is a good question.
Is rook h6 a forcing move? Is there a reason he has to take your rook?
Yeah, not really. Okay, that's a very. Oh wait, let me see.
But you were thinking of a different forcing move in there in queen f6. That's a very forcing move.
Queen f6. Okay. Let's. Or if he takes with the pawn, I take with the pawn. A check. Then he must play king f8, and then I have mate with the rook on h8.
Oh.
Oh. Okay, but that it can be true. But like the only important stuff, if he takes them with the pawn, I need to take with the g pawn, right? Because otherwise my rook is hanging. No, it's not even hanging because my bishop is there. Like, okay, I think it's queen f6 for sure. If he takes, I take with.
You play white, and you play white. I'll play black. All right, I'll move it for you. You go there.
Yes.
All right. Now let's say I just move my king.
Yeah, then it's mate with the rook, right, on h8.
Yep. All right, and let's say I take.
You take with what pawn? With this pawn. Okay, then I take with whatever pawn. It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm. Because the bishop guards it. And then.
And then if he goes, there's h8 rook still.
Very nice.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay. You give me the hint, but at least I got this 3-move checkmate.
Yep. All right. Well, the problems get a little harder, but they're all on the same theme. So hopefully, the rook mates will, by the end of this, you'll be better at rook mates. All right.
Yeah, I also like it because I had to calculate some stuff. That's good, I guess.
You want to practice both. So next problem, white to move.
Okay, like I think of queen g4, he takes with the bishop, I take with the pawn, he goes king h4, I go rook h6.
All right, you confident? Should we move it?
Okay, I move it. First of all, queen g4.
All right. I will take. It's only a move. Which pawn?
I take with with the h3 pawn, the bishop, and then it's a rook mate on h6.
Wow, you saw that so fast.
Yeah, because now I know the pattern.
Yes. Yes, perfect. That's what we're aiming for. All right.
Okay.
So queen sacrifice.
The brainstorming is activated. Right?
Yes. So we just want to do this with as many patterns as we can get, and then these kind of things will be easy for you, even in games. All right. More complicated though. White to move.
queen next. Let me click it real quick. So no. Oh, that doesn't look too good for me. Okay. Can I tell you what? I'm not telling right now if it's a true move. I just say what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
So maybe horse or knight. I'm sorry, knight f7. If he must take with the rook. I take with the queen, and I'm threatening. I'm not threatening mate instantly. Oh wait, let me see. Okay, like knight f7. Let's say he takes the pawn. If he takes the pawn, I go queen h4, and it's a mate.
So
no, I can't go actually queen h4 because it's but I can wait. Let's say knight f7. He takes the pawn, then queen h6, and it's a mate. Okay, that's right if he takes, right?
knight take f7, and he can't take the pawn.
I'm thinking that I really like this knight f7 moves because if he takes the h pawn, he runs into mate.
Do you see why you can't take the h pawn?
Yeah, the h pawn he can't take because it's mate in one then with
No.
queen h6, right?
He can't legally take it.
But knight f7 is the move. If he takes with the rook, I take with my rook.
Which rook? Which rook is he taking with?
Still he has two. Oh no, it doesn't matter if he takes with the g rook. I take with my queen. If he takes with the rook, I will play rook g8, and it's a mate. But otherwise, if he let me. But I think the first move is definitely knight f7.
Are you
if
confident?
It's something else, then I don't trust my mind anymore.
All right.
It's the move.
That's the move. Knight take f7.
All right. What you're playing now? Now I see what you are playing. That's good.
All right. Now I'll take with the f8 rook.
Okay, that's something I really don't. Okay, yeah, I take with the queen. Your rook.
All right.
And if you take, it's threatening mate in one.
Yes. That's good.
Really? Yeah. But patterns
Now,
are really important, as you said, because like the first one I didn't see at all.
Yeah.
And now I have I know the kind of thing I need to do.
Now let's see if I take with the G rook.
So you play you take with the G rook, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I take your rook as well with the queen. Doesn't matter.
All right.
And if you take now with the rook, it's still a mate in one.
Yeah.
But let's say you're not taking with the rook, then it's g7.
Yeah. I'll tell you what my solution was. It was slightly different, but I think your solution works. I think your solution works. What my solution was queen take f8 check initially.
Yeah.
His only legal move is bishop take queen, right?
Yes, and then knight.
Then knight take. His only legal move is rook take knight, and then rook g8 checkmate.
The mate as well. Yeah, that's a good. Do you think my mate is possible as well, or do you think it's not leading into a mate, just winning material?
It definitely won material. I wasn't sure if it got made. I'll turn on the computer though. Let's see.
Yeah, that would be.
So, let's see, knight take. Yeah, it says yours is made also.
Oh, nice.
You found a mate, I didn't see it.
I found not even the right solution, but another.
Yeah.
That's great.
You saw the pattern. There's more than one way to take advantage of it, which is rook mate on g8. And you found it. Very good.
Nice.
All right. Are we ready for the next one?
Yeah, sure. Sure. I think this... it's white to move, right?
Yep.
Okay, I think it's just a rook d8.
Rook d8. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's rook d8. It wins at least material.
How confident are you?
No, it's even made. Oh no, wait, let me see.
Is that final answer?
Yeah, rook d8. Rook d8. It's looks like an amazing. I like this move.
All right. And what do you do after? Now I'm going to try, and I want you to try with me. So don't do the move on the board. Let's just imagine it. Rook d8, and now I take your queen with my bishop. Then what?
Then I take a rook and some mate.
And then I play bishop g8.
You play bishop g8.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's there. Then I maybe, like my bishop is still there. You didn't take it. Then I play bishop d5.
All right.
Is it right?
No.
Like,
I mean, I can still struggle on, right? Like I can play h5. Like
okay, let me really try to imagine it. Like you said, I play rook.
All right, we'll move it. We'll move it on the board. But
okay.
You imagine this.
Rook d8,
right?
yes.
I take.
Then you take.
Check.
Then yes.
Bishop g8.
And then d8, yeah. Yep. Okay, let's say I take with the rook. I take with the rook, you press down, I give a check.
With your bishop?
And then you go, oh no, it's hanging my rook then, oh. That's not good. That's not working, I guess. Yeah, okay.
Now I'll tell you this, I've given this problem set to two other students, and both of them selected the same move you did.
Let's see. Like, what elo was your other students? Are they in the same reach or are they
a little stronger, a little higher rated on online than you?
Okay.
But they still fell for the same mistake.
Okay. Like to imagine moves is really hard. Like the first, like 2 or 3, it's going easy, but then it's just getting a bit blurry and.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go to the beginning and I can try.
Go to the beginning and look for another thing. But I like your first move in that it was concentrating on a rookmate. All of these have a rookmate theme in them.
Okay, no, let me read. I'll turn this one. Wait, let me see. Oh. Wait. No, I just thought about the queen sacrifice, but shouldn't work as well. Okay. What do you think? No, that's not working as well. Damn. Okay, this puzzle is really harder than the others, I guess.
Yeah.
I just try to take my time. I'm thinking right now about queen h5, but it doesn't look promising.
With the idea of mate on h7, so that's good in that it's a very forcing.
Yeah, but he takes then with the let's say he takes with the bishop my bishop.
Yep.
And then it's game over, I guess.
Well, like the other three, this is a different pattern, but once you've solved this and a couple like it, this kind of problem will become easy for you.
Okay, well, I think I also thought about bishop sacrifice, but that's not forcing, first of all, and second of all, my queen is hanging. Like, I really don't like his bishop. Okay. It's not working as well. Okay, damn it. Like, can you give me a little hint? Just say the piece that moves the first time. Just the piece.
So go for forcing moves, even if they look dumb. So threatening mate in 1 is the right idea, but not on h5.
Oh, is it possible? No, on h5, f5 looks kinda interesting. f5, but let's say, if he takes, then it's a mate. If he, oder? Okay, no. If he pushes, then one of his pawns. Like, he must push then a cheap pawn, and then I still take his rook, and it's mate. I guess it's like queen f5.
All right, you confident? Should we do the move?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely 100,000% sure. It's true.
All right. And then if rook take queen?
Okay, if rook takes queen, it's mate in 2.
What's the move?
Rook d8.
And then rook f8?
And then I take with
right.
my rook.
Yep, very nice. And if instead he guards against mate by, say, bishop take bishop?
Okay, then I take his rook, right?
Yeah,
with the queen.
Mate. Yep. Very good. You got it.
Yes. Wait, let me see if he has some other moves. That would be interesting.
All right.
What
queen
if he
f5?
plays... Oh, like if he pushes the g-pawn, it's mate as well. Okay, yeah, it's mate and...
I mean, he has squirmy, complicated moves. Like he could play king g8.
Okay, then I just take... this would be interesting. Like, say I take h7.
Yeah.
He goes to f7, and if he goes to f7, I play. What am I playing?
So it's not a. I'll tell you, it's not an easy forced mate here.
But it is.
But it's a winning position.
Okay. It's bishop g6, king e7, rook, king e7, and then it's let me think.
It's not. I don't want to go all the way to the end here because at this point it's very complicated, but it's also clear that you have a big advantage. You've won several extra pawns. His king is on the run. You wouldn't, in a game, you wouldn't have to calculate from the original position, past here.
Okay, that can be true. Maybe a GM is calculating 100 moves in the future, but
no,
okay.
A GM wouldn't either. That's how they became a GM. They're very efficient at when to stop calculating.
Mm-hmm.
So they would get to here, and they'd stop calculating. They'd say, oh, yeah, queen take h7, and I'm winning.
Yeah.
Done. So that's a funny thing about GMs. They don't look at that many more positions than, someone my level. But they pick which position's better.
Yeah.
And you saw from the patterns we've been going through that as you do these same kind of positions over and over, the right moves just occur to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking at less positions more than calculating deeper.
So like you just recognize, like you said, the pattern. Like you see a position, and then you have a clue. Maybe it should be something with the rook.
Right.
Something.
Like we look at this very first position we looked at. The very first position. You looked at rook d1 first. Very logical move. Very positionally themed. But you calculate.
But I think it's not working at the end because the king also protects, right?
I mean, it might be okay move, but it's not mate in 2. Right. So you could calculate 15 different possible moves or possible positions from this, and the GM would only look at 2 or 3. Right? They look at, queen f6, does that mate? There, yes. There, yes. Done. They've only looked at 5 possible positions. They just looked at the right ones. So that's
but still really impressive. Like what you must have for good memory.
Well,
just recognize that many patterns.
It just becomes automatic. It's not. If it doesn't become automatic, then you're not going to play the positions well. So the patterns are about the moves that occur to you first, and the calculation is what you do with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just keep chugging along. Let's look at a couple for black, and then we'll look at your games. Okay.
Okay. Black to move. Okay.
And every position I've shown you is from a real game, so they're all kind of realistic, not computery positions.
The first thing I see is a mate in 2, I guess.
All right, let's see it. Let's hear it.
Rook e1.
All right.
First of all, if he plays, then king. Let's say king h1. Then the queen comes to h4, and if he plays, it's a mate in king e. Oh, that shouldn't. I didn't see his queen was covering. Okay, that's Okay, I didn't see. Okay, never mind. Let me check for a new answer.
Okay. It's good that the rook mates are popping to mind, though. That's the right pattern.
Okay. Okay, let me take another look. I just thought for a moment that I'm a genius, but I just let my rook hanging. All right. Okay. Maybe not that genius much, but let's see. Okay. Like, what do you think? Is this puzzle more harder than the others we did, or do you think it's easier?
I would say for me it's the same.
Okay.
The number of moves is not far, it's just the pattern.
Alright, this time I wanna manage this puzzle without the hint.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say I take his bishop. He takes with the queen. Oh no, that's not. And then I give a check with the rook. And He's mate.
So is queen take bishop your final answer?
Let me calculate it. Quick again. I would say yes.
All right. So queen take bishop, queen take queen, and
Rook E1.
very nice. So that's the correct answer.
I got it. Like it feels a bit like Who Gets Millionaire, or what is the TV show called in America or in English? Like you know the show Who is Millionaire?
Oh yeah.
Who Gets Millionaire or whatever. Like it reminded me a bit of this. Where the commentator just make a really long, and if it's the right answer, you see, and yeah. Okay.
Chapter 6. All right, and you were looking at, this is black to move, right?
It's black to move.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh my god, I did a mate for
white.
Okay, but maybe this is not for black even better. Let's see. Maybe Rook C1, if he takes, it's mate in 1. But if he not takes, then I'm probably screwed up. But if, let's say, it's Rook C1, if he takes, it's a mate. But if he don't take, let's see. Like, let's say he placed H3. Then, maybe bishop b5. Oh no, that's not working as well. Oh no, then I take, and then I have to make. I think it's Rook C1.
First of all, let me see, how confident are you?
With Rook C1 or what?
Yeah. Is this your final answer?
Okay, let me look again. If you say this something like so that if he not takes. Yeah, I think so. Oh wait. Oh no, then he has the mate coming up. Then he has the forced mate on H8 at the end with the rook, right? We need a more forcing move because otherwise he mates me. Isn't this right?
I'm gonna let you think about it.
if I play Rook C1, it's not enough forcing. He sacrifices queen. I take with the king. He checks me on H4. I go back with the king on G8, and then he plays Rook H8, and I made it. So I don't like getting mated. But what's a more forcing move? Let's say I take with the bishop as pawn. He needs to take with the rook. And then I play Rook T1, and then he must go back Rook G1. And then there's too much going on. Oh wait, let me say I take his pawn with my queen. Okay, I take his pawn with my queen.
Final answer?
Yes.
Alright. So I only have one legal move, right? Rook take queen?
Yeah, and now I give a check with C1.
Now I block with my queen.
I take the queen and then I take the rook.
All
So
right.
now the F rook, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, checkmate. Very good.
Okay, that's it. Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, back row Me. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of doing, similar mates all in a row. Really get that pattern down. And it's
Like the tricky one was here that you needed to have a really forcing move because this mate in 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah, but that doesn't quite work, I think. So let's say you did rook c1 and I did queen take h7.
Yeah.
Take with the king, and then you check with the rook, and I block with my bishop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing stuff that's not even there. Why am I seeing stuff that doesn't exist? This is weird. I guess.
It's very normal. It's very normal. That's where we also practice calculation, right?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's switch to the game. So I put a few of your games from chess.com into a study here.
Okay, now I'm getting a bit exposed for my games. Let's see what games you have. You did already get some games from my chess.com?
Yes. So when I go through here, I'm not going to worry about, I dropped the piece. That's not what we're looking on. We're looking on, patterns and ideas to work on. I'm not going to worry about, silly mistakes. It's no big deal.
Are there some games in there with a lot of blunders, or did you pick one of the best games I had?
Everyone's games have lots of blunders. My games, Grandmaster's games.
I think I don't have that much game with all the blunders that engine says.
Yeah. Everyone's games has lots of blunders. Members, add member. Yeah, I added you to some. So I was looking over someone else's game.
Okay. Are you do coaching sometimes?
Well, that was just someone who joined the stream and asked me to look at a game, so I just did it. But I do sometimes give lessons.
That's actually really nice for me. Really.
No, not a. It's the advantage of retiring is you get to do what you want.
Well, what's about your kids? Are they playing some chess as well, or?
They played a little bit of chess, but they're not, they're not super into it. They like it, but they're not studying it,
I looked up yesterday when I really started to play actively. Like I have the account for a while now, but I just created this once to play against my uncle at the first, and then I never touched it again. But I'm really playing since 7 months, I guess, from now.
Nice.
As I looked up when I started playing actively.
Yeah.
So
it's not too late. All right, so I picked 3 games, so we won't pour over every position, but I'll just look at a couple of positions, and I took a little bit of notes. You're black in this. So whenever you play bishop f5 in these openings for black, in the queen pawn openings, you always.
Well, let me guess. It's the name. It's called boy variation or something. I know this. Chess.com says the name all the time. Okay, it's the boy variation that I picked here.
It could be. I think of this as the London system, but I'm not good at those names. The thing you're always watching out for is this pawn on b7, because sometimes after c4 or c3 and queen b3, this pawn can get an annoying pressure. So the key issue when you play bishop f5 and e6 early is just always keep in mind what's going to happen on b7.
Yeah, I run actually a lot of times in trouble with the b pawn if he plays on some lines b3 with the queen. Yeah.
So it's okay. It looks anti-positional to play, e6 with your bishop on c8, but it's okay. It's okay to do it. It's safer. But bishop f5 here is fine. It's fine.
Like in the last games, I also learned a new trick. Like in some of those lines, he can also play queen b3 and sometimes his bishop to 8 8-6, and sometimes I lose in a full piece, and
Yeah.
I needed to learn this the hard way.
Yeah, it can be dangerous. So it looks obvious to do that move, and it is fine here, but it means you're going to have to take care on your queen side, because without your bishop defending over there, you can have challenges.
Mm-hmm.
All right, knight f3. It's a good move, developing move right here. Knight c6. Okay, I mean, it's another fine move. It develops. There's another principle that I have for developing, which is always develop the piece where you know where it's going to go before the one where you're not sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, to me, that means knight f6, because your knight definitely is going there, whereas this knight has a couple of different possible squares. Okay. But, I mean, everyone's developing. This is fine. He's developing. I consider it a developing move because you're releasing your bishops. Good, good. c3 looks a little unnecessary on his part to me.
I think if he plays this, the plans are queen b3. And if I then do the wrong move, I think it's bishop h8.
So your move is good, queen b3. And then what should you do? If you're...
I mean, knight a5 looks good, but if he gives me the check, I must retreat my knight. And then it's still okay, but I wasted a move. Like rook b8.
Yeah, rook b8. I agree. So next time you would do that.
Like, I don't know, was it the game where I really messed up because I played the wrong move?
Yeah, it is. But I'm not worried about that part. I'm just had a few things to say about the first few moves. Now, knight a5, the trick here is if he checks, you can block the check and your queen guards the knight.
Oh, yeah.
So that's just something to know. That pattern comes up a lot. Same thing if he checks you on a4, queen guards the knight.
Oh, that's a move. Okay, I would just normally before I would just play knight c6 then.
Yeah, but rook b8 looks right to me. I would do that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also analyzed the game. The engine on chess.com says b8 is the best.
And then one more thing to look at. Right, what's the right move here?
I remember the situation as a horrible dream. Okay, what did I play here? I think I just let my knight hang. Just played the d8 queen, I guess.
King e7. But what would you do if you were to play it over again?
Maybe cry. Well, I thinking even of taking his bishop.
Yep.
With the rook.
I would do that immediately. Yeah. There's no way to guard this. You'd rather lose the exchange. And
I know worse because he has material lead, but maybe I can do this still.
Yeah,
and I think no, he has no threat.
You don't have to resign. You keep playing. You just move out your bishop and get castled, and you're a little bit down, but at your level, you know, people can drop pieces. Like, let's say you played here, and he played knight d5.
Like, I need to take it with my knight.
Yep. And if he does queen take queen?
Like, normally I don't like my king on d7, but I need... Oh no. Like... Oh, I even need to take it with the knight, but then my pawn is hanging. But I think there's no way I can... Or like I can take with f6. Yeah.
Well, you don't want to leave your e knight hanging to pawn take knight.
Yeah, right? when I take with my f knight, oh no, he's hanging then because he can take with the pawn. Yeah, so I need to take with the e. Yeah. But he wins the pawn, right?
But you won a piece. You took a knight, and he didn't. And
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I mean, he could have done that. I mean, it's complicated, but like people can drop pieces like that, right? Like, there's no reason to resign. It's still complicated. Still plenty of chances for people to make mistakes. So yeah, you just take that. And if given this position fresh and not being frustrated with yourself, you would probably find rook take bishop and be able to play on. But probably my interpretation when I saw you play king e7 was you were mad at yourself and not thinking straight.
Yeah, at this position I was just
All right,
I was just a bit mad.
That's fine. We'll move on to the next game now, which was a brilliant game by you, I thought.
Brilliant. You thought, but at the end I blundered or what?
We'll take a look.
Was a Scandinavian, huh? I don't like Scandinavian, but that's it.
All right. So everything's good. You're developing.
Yeah, until now I know the theory to it. From here it stopped.
What your position looks good. Developing, castled. Okay. You developed. Good.
Yeah, maybe this move was an accuracy, like I remembered.
Yeah, but it gets the piece off the back row. It seems a little more passive. Where would you go if given the choice to pick again?
Oh, that's a good question. Like B2.
B2? The idea is C4 and your bishop is threatening queenside. All right.
I think this looks better than D2 if I look at it again.
What is White's main plan in this position, do you think?
After what move? In this situation?
Yeah, just this situation. Because knowing your main plan is going to help you figure out where your pieces are going to best go. Should your bishop be on B2, D2, E3, G5? It kind of depends. Like, where is black going with his king? Are you going to be expanding on your queen side? Are you going to be attacking his king? What are you thinking?
Like my really basic plans until he plays something situations like this would be just playing bishop to B2 and maybe get a better position in the center, get the center, and also get a kind of attack on his king side.
All right.
Because that's the stuff I would plan for.
So to attack his king side, I like the idea of attacking his king side. The thing that indicates to me that attacking the king side is a good plan is he doesn't have a knight over there guarding it.
Yeah.
His F6 knight.
Like all his pieces are chilling on his queen side.
Exactly, and it's not easy. His D7 bishop can't get over to defend. His C6 knight can't get over to defend. His D6, he can't defend king side. So if he castles over there, he looks real vulnerable. So
yeah, and I also get some counterplay in the future.
Yeah. So I like your idea of attacking the king side, and I'm not sure what that means on where I should put my pieces. If I put G5, he might play here, bishop E7, try to trade off, and in this kind of situation, it's going to be harder for you to attack, right? His queen starts defending.
Yeah, in this situation, I also want my bishop because, also, I wouldn't play G5 because he just could play F6 and I lose tempo.
Now, what kind of thing do you think he wants to do?
He wants to do. That's a good question, as I'm not a Scandinavian player by myself.
Yeah.
But he wants to do. First of all, maybe get a bit more free room for his white bishop because it's just a bit messed up there.
So, ignoring the tactics, how does he free up his bishop?
Yeah, like E5.
Exactly.
Maybe.
It's exact. If he could magically get E5 in and without, have his king be safe, he'd have a good position. He would be equalized in the center, and his bishop would be free. So, yep. So your idea of bishop b2 is good in that after c4, it is indirectly putting pressure on e5.
Yeah.
But it is probably attacking the king side a little less than a move like bishop e3, where it's still targeting squares over here.
Okay, but bishop e3 doesn't look good to me because I want to have this open file a bit. Because I want to have some more pressure on this e pawn in the future that he cannot push.
Yeah.
That's something I want more. But I don't know if it's the right idea.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything wrong with your move. I'm happy with it. It's just that now is a time to think a little bit, just because this move here determines a lot of your plans, whether your bishop goes to b2 or d2. E3 is kind of similar, except for it leaves room for your knight to go to d2 or your queen to go to d2. That's the only disadvantage of d2 versus e3 in my mind. E3 is more intuitive to me. I don't know if it's better, just because it leaves your other pieces. You have lots of other pieces that might want to go to d2.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But we don't have to go over this move too carefully. At your level, I'm just happy you're developing. You've done an excellent job developing. You've got center control. Everything's great, man. Everything's great. He castles, so now you know where he is. Rook e1, activate. Very nice. Rook e8. And you start the attack. I love it.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I like sometimes to get a bit aggressive. Because also, it's... I don't know really what I thought about this move, but I think I wanted to attack his h pawn, because I could attack it 2 times. That's the first thing. Yeah. That is also the whole of the plan, but it's a plan.
Yeah.
And also if he plays h6, his pawn structure is also weird.
Yeah, I mean, in a move like this, I start thinking about whether you can sacrifice. I don't know if you can or not, but I'd be looking at knight f7.
Well, wait, let me look. Maybe queen h5 if he takes, it's a mate. It's mate. If he takes, it's not a mate, because he goes at the end to e7. And if he goes to e7, I go bishop g5. No, bishop c5. If he pushes, I take his pawn.
Yeah. Nasty. Yeah. Boy, I mean, things just pop up when he doesn't have any pieces over there. So he played g6, right?
Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like it for me.
So you think you don't like it for white?
No. That's a bit destroyed my plans, but yes. Because I don't like that my plans are getting destroyed, because I think, again...
Queen f3
yes,
though, right? That's good.
Just threatening the mate again.
Mm-hmm.
He really did make me angry here.
So that's...
wasn't there even a knight sacrifice after f5? No, let's see. What did I play it here? Let me try to remember.
You played queen h3.
Queen h3?
Mm-hmm.
Or to threaten mate again?
Yeah.
And yeah, true. If he pushes, then I can just take his pawn. Okay. And if you play something like this, what can I play then here? What? Warte. Ich glaube, hier ist irgendwo. Oh, sorry. I think there is some sacrifice in there. Oh, is there a sacrifice? Let me see if I take on e6. He takes. He takes, let's say, with the bishop. Then no, like I don't see. Or maybe. Oh, taking with the knight on e6 and then playing bishop c4.
So I was looking at something similar.
Because when I take it, I am a pawn up there at the end of the day. And now I take with Rook. And now I beam. When he takes, I pick. I'm dumb, I guess. Okay, like, did I saw this in the game?
Yeah, I'll tell you the version of it that I was looking at with a similar theme. I thought bishop c4 first. And one of the advantages of doing bishop c4 first is he can't do rook take e6 in any line because of queen take h7. So don't sack the knight.
Oh, okay, that's...
Yeah. So let's say he goes queen e8 to try to help guard e6. And you do bishop take, rook take, and he can't do rook take rook, right?
Yeah.
Or it's
Yeah, it's a mate.
well, it's something good is happening.
Then it's not even mate in one. Where, like, first of all, I can also take his rook. If he takes then with the queen, then I check him.
Yeah, you got a rook coming to e1, you got a bishop coming to h6.
Yeah, there are a couple of good moves.
So it seems to me a little simpler instead of sacrificing right away to just go bishop c4 here.
Like, it's amazing how the round was full of tactics.
Yeah, but when we look over these games, I'm not too worried about seeing all the tactics. You know, it's fine.
Yeah,
to
because
miss these
I
tactics.
play like 10 minutes. Like sometimes, sometimes I have really brilliant games where I see 2 tactics in a round, and after I'm really hype.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm blundering 20 moves ahead.
The most important thing is you got this position by playing really, really accurate plans. You got all your pieces developed. You saw that the king side was the weak area. You went after the king side. And here, the missing move was just spotting what his biggest weakness is. Like, if I asked you what his biggest weakness is, you probably would have said e6. And you saw that there was queen h7 mating threats. So, like, you had the patterns to say bishop c4 is a candidate move here. But you play rook a b1, which is, a reasonable positional move. But when he plays b5 in exchange, he just takes away the c4 square.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
But you go after it. He tries to break free. Let me see if I had any more things I wanted to look at in this game or not. Probably not.
Did they won the game at the end?
Yeah, I think you win this Queen h6. Oh yeah, he goes queen f8, and I just wanted to ask you what you would have done if he did a take b.
If he take like,
because clearly the game continuation where he goes queen f8 and you take, and then you take his piece, this is winning for you. Like, you might drop it. He may not want to resign, but you're clearly in great shape, right? You're up a piece. All your pieces are great. So to try to hang on, he needed to do a move like a take b5. And how would you have punished that?
okay, a take b5, right?
Yeah.
Like how should I punish? Like, I don't mind even taking the pawn with a bishop, but let me look for something better. Maybe taking b5 with the bishop looks for me perfectly fine.
It is perfectly fine. But there's a move that I was thinking about that works on the theme of trying for queen take h7 checkmate.
Queen.
So you can't do that because his rook's guarding it. But that's the...
Yeah, maybe we can remove the defender.
Yeah,
I thought about taking with my bishop on f4, and if he takes, I take with my rook, his rook. But if he takes, then my rook with his queens, I don't have a match threat at all anymore. Yeah. Oh. Like, also knight f7 looks nasty, the fork, and if he takes... And if he takes with the rook... but then I don't have a mate threat anymore, but I win a rook at least. For
yeah, yeah, you win... yep, so that would be great. That would probably be better than taking the pawn, right? Is to go knight f7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But... You say there's even a better move.
I mean, I haven't used the computer, so maybe I'm wrong, but the move, there's a different move that occurs to me first.
Like, I'm thinking about a sacrifice on f4, but it's worth nothing at the end, I guess.
Yeah. How can you threaten the mate in one on h7?
On h7?
Mm-hmm. So how do you prevent the rook from guarding h7 in one move?
Bishop f7.
Yeah, that's the move that first occurred to me in this position. Threatening mate, right?
Yeah.
So
and if he takes, I have to fork. Oh, that's...
Then he forks his king and queen. Yeah.
Okay, this is a tough move for him, I guess.
Yeah. So we'll turn on the move. All right, let's turn on the computer here. Let's just confirm what it thinks. Yeah, bishop f7. And it says he has to do something like queen here, and you take his queen.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
But you play out this, and you finish off the game very nicely. You just take all his stuff and he resigns. So very good game. Very good game.
Yes. Thanks.
So so our last game was one where you were white against Anton.
There was 1,260, but now I'm finally 1,300. That was one of the biggest goals, and now I am.
Nice. Congratulations. All right, so you're white, e4, e5.
The Italian. I every round play the Italian if I can.
So,
Oh, that's not the Italian because he played a weird gambit.
yeah.
Or like I didn't even know this gambit. This was the reason I didn't take, because I'm afraid if someone plays a gambit, because I don't know theory about every gambit.
Yeah.
And I see if I take this on a gambit, then he has a mate in 20 moves that they don't see. So I'm not taking gambits, except gambits I know. Because if that's such a weird game, gambit. Who's playing stuff like this?
Yeah, this looks weird to me. I would probably take the pawn and just.
Yeah, like it was also a mistake I saw afterwards in the analysis, but I'm really afraid of something like this because it can be like an opening he saw one time from Eric Rosen.
Yeah.
And it's just such an, like, if you play them perfectly, then you win for sure if you take the pawn. But I'm really afraid of really, like, maybe he has even he can even play then bishop takes f2 and I take with the king, and then he has really big pressure on me.
Yeah.
Or something. So I don't like taking things.
So here's my attitude towards all of these games. To me, it doesn't really matter how I do in the game. It's a learning experience. So I'm picking the move that I'm going to learn the most from, not necessarily the one that maximizes my chance to win, which is not the same as I would do in an over-the-board tournament, where I might win prize money or something. But in an online game, in my mind, how you do in any individual online game really doesn't matter very much.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you think you're going to learn more from taking the pawn, take the pawn. Like, there's no reason to be afraid of him doing crazy prep if you're going to learn from the crazy prep.
Except the Vienna gambit, then you should take, because that's not good.
There are some gambits where you take it and then they crush you, and then afterwards you analyze it and you say, this is just a crazy, uncomfortable game and I don't want to do it, so next time I'm not going to take it. And then you learned and you got some good practice analyzing complicated positions. But if you have no idea, like if you looked at knight take pawn and you say, what the heck can he do? Queen f6? No, I just retreat and I'm good.
But let's say he plays queen e7.
Queen e7.
Yeah.
Right. And now what's the most intuitive move? I would think d4 maybe?
Okay, that doesn't... Okay, let's say he... Oh no, that's not even a move. Okay, let's say he plays bishop d6. Yeah, what should I... Then I don't need to retreat my knight, because when I retreat he gets the pawn back, and I think I lead in the development.
Is he going to have a lead in development?
Like, if I take my knight to f3 and if he takes then the pawn with check.
Alright, and let's say we block.
Yeah, okay, maybe he don't has. Maybe, like, yeah, maybe white looks better. Okay, that can be true.
Like, we have a huge lead in development, right?
Yeah,
Knight
because
f6,
you can also...
bishop d3.
Yeah, no. Yeah, and then, yeah, that's kind of true.
Yeah, so when analyzing these kind of things, if you just see no reason not to take the pawn, just for practice I would take the pawn and just feel comfortable giving back the pawn. All right, queen e7, d4, bishop d6. Maybe there's crazy things we can try to hang on to the pawn with. But if you are looking at just, retreating, giving up the pawn, but you're getting in a great position, great. People who try crazy gambits hate to have this kind of position. Like, because they're doing it to try to get some great attack. And they're not getting an attack, they're getting attacked here. So, as long as you're comfortable giving back the pawn, go ahead and grab the pawn. And maybe you're right. Maybe they're going to, play Queen H5, threatening mate, threatening in here.
All right. What would be the right move here? Queen D3?
Like Queen F3, you mean?
Oh, F3, yeah.
Yeah. Seems reasonable.
I think this would be the move, right?
Yeah, and it can be complicated. But it doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad. Looks good. You're up a pawn. And you're not behind in development.
Like, there is also a gambit, the Nemo gambit, or what it is called, after the black opponent pushes his f6 pawn, where you can take with the knight. This is also, like, I'm afraid of gambits because something like this.
Yeah.
Like you're even losing after the second move. How is this even possible?
Yeah. The key is that it's not important. If you can develop the attitude that it's not important if you lose.
Yeah, that's true for sure.
Then you play in a way that means you're going to win a lot more in 20 games, even if you don't win that game.
Yeah, that's wise and true, I guess. But like, I also struggle like in games. I'm sometimes really getting nervous for like no reason. But I wanna stick to the rating. I wanna get better. If I drop from a rating, I'm just mad sometimes. That doesn't make sense. But
yeah, no, I understand. It's the most common phenomenon, and it's not. It's easy to say, just try to get better, and the rating will follow. But I understand it's hard to do. It's hard for everyone. Like I was in your chat the other day, and you asked what my rating was, and one of the people in your chat was saying, "Oh, he's so bad."
Yeah.
Like, it's hard for me to ignore that stuff and say, "Oh, I'll show them. I'll get my 2400 rating back."
Yeah, like also he was on this day. I don't know if you understand everything because he spoke a lot of German, but he also was then saying how good he is because like he's a 2000 light chess. I mean that's good, but it's definitely not like it's maybe not even a master in real life.
I mean it's lower than me probably, right?
Yes,
but
so I didn't understand him.
It's
then
hard.
He was talking about how he won one time against a 2000 rated FIDE player, but like he's 11 or something. Maybe the guy that even let him win, but okay.
If it's good practice in life, not just in chess, to just not care. The less you can care about that kind of stuff, the better you're going to be at learning everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So I understand. It's hard. It's hard for me even. And I got a lot of practice at it. But this is a fine move. You did a fine move. You're in good shape. We've just transposed.
Like also a question from you. I mean, it's not on the topic right now. But did you play in a club chess?
Club chess is a little different in the U.S. than it is in Europe, I think. But I played on a team when I first moved to Virginia with a friend I knew from my chess programming days, who's a grandmaster that lives in Maryland. And that was kind of fun, but it's hard for me to play late at night, which is when all those games are. I wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm just dead in the evening.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
like I'm also thinking of if I should maybe join a team because like this year I finished school, then I have first of all some time in my holidays. Yeah. But I'm only thinking about it, maybe.
The more chess, the better off you're going to be if your goal is improving at chess. Nothing but beats playing. And over the board, you probably learn better than online.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just thinking about this maybe.
Yeah, yeah. If the only question is what will improve your chess, the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
If there are other considerations like it's hard to fit into your schedule, or you don't want to die of COVID, or whatever, life is complicated. You want to play soccer instead. Whatever it is, yeah, life is complicated.
Okay, we should change the title from chess lesson to life lesson.
Yeah.
It's everything from chess to life.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
All right. So, but back to chess. Wait, you're white, so you play knight c3. Good move. But yeah, this is a good solid setup, and playing the same thing over and over is a great way to start learning the details of it in the patterns. d3. Castle, bishop e3. Yeah, I've seen this pawn structure in your games as white and black, and it's very interesting if they take here, which I guess they do in this game. What do you think about white's pawn structure here?
Really good, because you are able to fight for the center and win it.
All right. I'll go through a couple of. I think of it as double-edged myself. He plays here, and we'll discuss it in a couple of moves. He plays a6. I'm not really sure why. You play d4. That makes sense.
Because I don't like. I play this to get the center and also to have like the 2 pawns in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's good normally.
If he takes here, he's making all your dreams come true, and you're absolutely right. Your pawn center is great here. But what if he did something else? Let's say, I don't know what. I'd say he develops his bishop.
Okay, I had a solution. This is a bit annoying. Like I think in some lines they play h3. If he takes, they take with the rook.
All right, let's say he retreats.
Okay, now it's getting too confusing. Okay. Oh, maybe I play even d2 and then still have the dream to
Queen d2.
Yeah.
So here's the thing I want to say about the pawn center. Your pawn center is not necessarily stronger than his pawn center, in my mind here.
Mm-hmm.
Your e-pawn is a little vulnerable. It's not guarded by any pawn, and it's never going to be guarded by another pawn, right?
Yes.
So he can do queen e7, start lining things up on it. And he just never takes. If he doesn't ever take ED, then he can indirectly pressure your pawn. If you ever take, say we end up with this kind of pawn structure, you've got these double isolated pawns.
Yeah, but I think it's white is not that's not great, but I think white is not losing here.
No, white is not losing. It's very double-edged. It is not an advantageous pawn structure for white. Doesn't mean you do have some compensation. You control a lot of squares, with these doubled pawns, but they are doubled pawns. And this pawn is still weak. His bishop can team up on it. He can go queen c5 and try to target your e-pawn. It's just a very, very complicated game where you have a worse pawn structure and you have some compensation for it. The only reason it feels good is your opponents probably keep doing pawn take pawn, ED.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
If he doesn't do that, this is not an easy pawn structure for you to play. So this is one of the reasons I took this game, is just to make this comment. This pawn structure is very double-edged. If you're going to play it, you need to understand what it's going to look like when he doesn't play ED.
Yeah, that's true. It not happens many times, but I think if he doesn't do it, I take every time his E pawn then.
All right, so, and you could even do it like, let's say he does queen e7 immediately instead of bishop out, and you just take, and he takes. And one.
Yeah, I think then I take, and then we had
Maybe he takes with the queen this time, and you got these double isolated pawns on an open file for him to attack.
Or if he does, then I would play in this situation queen f3.
Mm-hmm.
No. If he plays, then he can also put his bishop then on. Then I must play bishop d3.
Then,
or maybe, yeah.
If you have
I think I would play bishop d3.
If you have to do that, I'm going to claim you're worse because your bishop is now bad because it's biting on your blocked by your e pawn. And your pawns are really weak, and his pieces are good.
Yeah, that's, maybe queen d3 then.
Yeah. So I'm not saying bishop e3 here is bad. I'm saying it's really complicated, and you can't. It's really complicated pawn structure you're committing to after bishop take bishop. And it's worth, really studying the ramifications of the d4 push when he does not take your pawn. Now he made life easy for you, and he took your pawn and gave you your dream pawn center. But if you're black in these situations, don't take the pawn. Just do a move like queen e7 and make him sweat it. He could also push by, right? But again, this is not a trivial position. You're not getting a dominant pawn center here either.
Like if I'm black here, wouldn't even be knight a5 be good?
And if well, you could. But
and if he retreats his bishop, and maybe I can push in the future my c-pawn or some stuff.
Yeah. My instinct here would be, and I'm not saying knight a5 is the wrong move. It could be the best move. But my instinct is to play knight b8 with the plan of knight d7 and knight.
Oh, getting in the center.
Yeah. And that teams up on this e-pawn.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
But you can play b4 to try to stop that.
It also prevents me from playing queen d3 in the future to defend it then.
Yeah.
So
It's complicated. It's just a complicated game. I don't know who's better, if anyone. But I noticed that you play into this structure a lot. In many of the games I looked at, you ended up in this structure. So I would encourage you kind of on your own to play around in this kind of position in your games, not with the computer on. Just get a feel for when you like it for white and when you like it for black. Because it comes up over and over. It's kind of like the rook mate patterns we were talking about. This pawn structure pattern is happening all the time. So learn it so that the things that make sense for white and black become natural to you.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Because I'm really I 2 or 4 games I've into this pawn structure, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I just kind of skimmed your last 10 games or so to pick a few, and I saw this structure at least 3 or 4 times. out of
I
10.
think it was the last games even less than it's normal.
Really?
Because they played Scandinavian. I like
Yeah.
by 10 games there was at least 3 Scandinavian openings from the enemy.
Yeah. And I saw it with both colors too. So, you know, it really screams to me, you know, learn this pawn structure. This is an important pawn structure. All right, but we'll just cruise through a few more moves until we get to. All right, so this position is clearly good for you. You got your dream pawn structure. Oh, d5. Why do I not like that move?
Because my bishop don't like it.
That's true.
But like I don't really dislike d5. To be honest.
I'll tell you what screams bad about it to me is you're giving his knight the e5 square.
Oh, I think he even played this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and then I was getting in some trouble in the future because of that.
Yeah, he has a knight that can never be challenged by one of your pawns in a great center square.
Oh, I think this whole end game basically based on this knight at the end that we played.
Yeah, what's strong about this pawn structure with the pawn on d4 and e4 is you control all the center squares, right? So he can't stick pieces on any of these squares, which is good for you. But as soon as you push that pawn, you're giving him c5 and e5 as squares that he can put pieces on. So you gave up the dark squares with that pawn push. All right. But game's not over here. All right, reasonable. So when I see a knight on e5 like that, I'm trying to figure out how to take with the G pawn. And the reason I'm interested in the G pawn
because of the pawn char you get, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want him to have a knight on e5, so I want to have this f4 push if he ever puts a knight on e5.
Yeah, that makes sense, but I really don't like my king because he's really open there.
Yeah, and that's a good instinct. The only reason to worry in my mind about this move is what move by black.
Yeah, that's a good question. Maybe, like, what is the problem with pushing f4 or what?
Yeah, that's the question.
He plays queen e7.
It's black's move. You're thinking queen e7? My instinct was knight h5 because now the square he wants the knight on is f4, right?
But what if I play knight? Like I can first play queen d2 and then maybe he plays queen f6 and then I can play knight e2. Yeah, I think that I'm totally fine.
After knight h5, and if he does a slow move like queen d2, maybe he even has f5, opening up his rook.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go too deep in that line. What I was imagining was the critical line was f4, attacking the knight. If he gets in queen g4, he's probably good. His king's a little open though.
Oh, isn't there also a way to trap his? Oh no, he can just push g or something. Okay, never mind. I thought about trapping his knight if he played to f6.
Yeah.
But he don't need to play this. So. And also you can go back to E8 and E8. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so this is complicated stuff, but this is the kind of things I'm thinking about, and the reason I'm thinking about it is just because I hate having his knight on E5. It makes me want to look at G take F lines. You could also consider it here, G take F. And again, knight H5, F4.
Oh, yeah, okay, that looks good.
But maybe he has knight take pawn, queen G5. No, it's just complicated.
Oh, yeah. Is there a way to prevent that I'm losing my rook?
Yeah. So it kind of, the important part of these lines in my mind is not how the tactics turn out, but these are the main ideas, that the positional patterns that should come to mind in this original position here. You're thinking, oh, that E5 knight is so annoying that maybe I should open up my king with G take F. And then black switches his goal to a knight from E5 where it can't maintain itself because you have F4 push, to him trying to get a knight onto F4. So always he's looking for an outpost for the knight where his pawn, you never have a pawn that can challenge it. In one of these key center squares. And if he can get there, he's got a big advantage. And if he can't get there, you're fine. So that's what the position resolves around, in my feel. So the way this all came out, without a fight, you gave him this square. So I like black. But
that's never a way to challenge it. That's
right.
Unfortunate.
I mean, you could do things too. I mean, maybe you can get your knight from D1 to E3 to F5. You have, pressure down the F file. The game is over, right? It's not over. It's a complicated game still. So he goes in here. Anyone's game, but he won a little positional battle. A4, expanding on the queen side a little bit when you don't know what to do, is kind of reasonable.
Why do you think I didn't know what to do? What that should mean? You're right, but how do you know? How do you know?
It's just my feel, based on your experience level, that once you've gotten your pieces developed and active, and you don't have an obvious kingside attack, most people don't really kind of lose the thread of what to do to make progress. So it's not speaking about you specifically, but just generally most people kind of lose the thread around here, unless they're really experienced.
What would be your plan for this game as white?
Well, I mean, A4 is reasonable, because it could be that he might mess with you someday with B5 stuff. But my first instinct would be to get active down the F file with both rooks.
Mm-hmm.
So the two different things I would be interested in is rook F4, rook EF1 kind of ideas. And the other is knight D1, knight E3, and knight F5. Those are the two. So bringing more pieces.
Not really threats in it, but you're just making progress.
I'm bringing my pieces over to the king side, because I don't think I have much chances on the queen side. The one imbalance that he has is he's got, an open E file where you can try to pressure your E pawn, and he's got this great knight outpost. But your one thing is you've got this open F file. So I'd be trying to take advantage of the open F file somehow.
That's right.
But we can turn on the computer, and the computer will tell us that we're,
Okay, let's see what computer wants.
All right.
If it's A4, then I'm.
Computer says Queen D2.
Okay. Yes, why not? But I
Yeah,
am not really understanding this move.
yeah. It's more mobile, and then he's planning on going knight E2, knight D4. But I don't think it's necessarily a helpful comment by the computer. But I think that's probably the idea, is the queen D2 is to free the E2 square for the knight to remaneuver to D4 or F4.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I play at A4, and I think A4 is also fine. What does the engine says to A4? Can you put it on the
All right. After A4,
what does the engine says about it?
it's fine. It says it's fine.
Okay, yeah, it's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
alright.
I mean, we're still in the. I mean, no, it's been a pretty well played game. I mean, everything I'm complaining about is just kind of positional thoughts, right? It's not like the first game where like pieces are dropping off all over the place. It's just a well played game by both people, and you're just doing some. And A4 is completely reasonable. All right, I'll just kind of cruise through the next few moves. Now, Rook A1 seems confusing to me. What was your idea there?
Like I just wanted to put the rook there to move my knight in the future. I just want to reroute my knight a bit.
But how does your Rook on A1 help you reroute your knight?
That's an logic question.
You,
Like I don't wanted him to play B5.
all right, so it's prophylactic against B5, but
Yeah, but it wasn't necessary. But
Right.
like it didn't even know what I should do in this. I really don't.
yeah.
I didn't have a single plan in here. I just played pieces where they look good to me.
The very first move I would look at is King F2, which I'm not saying is good, but like my instinct in a position like this is to get my king active. If your king was like sitting on D4, then there's no reason you're worse. You might even be better. But the problem is you have to think about F5, which gets complicated here. Now, you mentioned knight C4 at some point. Now, to me, that is not helpful at all, because you just play B3. He's going to retreat, and B3 is probably more useful for you than not. The E5 is the great square. He's already on his great square, right? For him, he might try to pressure your E pawn. So if he's looking at like Rook AE8, Rook E7, then maybe someday he goes knight D7, knight C5, starts pressuring. But like you should have enough resources to defend all of that. So it's okay for you not to not have too active of a plan. Just slowly improve your pieces. Look for ways that you can get your king across that line. So we have Jacob is talking about Queen F2, F5, this kind of thing. Now we got a consider the ramifications of knight c4 there, which might be fine, just complicated.
Like if he plays the knight there, then he's threatening my to take my pawn. But like then what am I playing then? Something like d4, and if he takes, I take his pawn, and then I have maybe some counterplay in the future.
I mean, if you get your king on d4, the fact that you had this backwards thing and he used to have a great knight, now he doesn't have a great knight and you have a great king. Right? Great king. So all of a sudden, white is looking good, right?
It hangs so. If I play rook b1 then.
You're looking at that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, the important thing in this position is not whether king f2, f5 turns out well or poorly for you. That's the move to look at because you're trying to improve your king. Your dream, the pattern in this kind of position is get your king active. If your king was on d4, you'd be great. So that's the thought that should occur to you. Then you calculate, and it's fine for the calculations to go poorly sometimes. That'll just come with practice. So this move that you did shouldn't occur to you. Like the idea shouldn't come up. So it's not about calculating. It's that's not the right idea. You're making your rook worse instead of trying to get your king better. Someone else also is mentioning knight e2 to d4 as a way of improving your knight.
This position.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about this, but you're right, definitely.
Yeah, pick a piece, make it better. If you don't know what to do, pick a piece and make it better. The most intuitive piece for me is king to f2. I mean, it's just the first move I would think about. All right, rook a1. But it's not like it's dropping any material. You're still okay here. Now rook a2. Why rook a2 instead of b3?
Like what? Yeah, because then I run directly into the fork if I play b3. Or like not really, but let's say what was I afraid of? What was I afraid of? That's a good question actually. Like let's see. Yeah, that's Yeah, I think both are fine. Like maybe B is better because it comes with tempo. But yeah, that's a good question.
I think
I just played the A rook too. It's not really a reason. Like that's okay. I don't know why I did play this. That's a good question.
Okay. What about which do you like better, rook a2 or rook b1?
Yeah, rook a2.
Why?
Because the fork with knight and then
Yep.
I'm happy. Then I'm crying.
Yep. To me, rook a2 is a move that I would play as a last resort because your rook is now super inactive. It can't easily get back in the action. All the action is happening over here, right?
Mm-hmm.
it's out of play over an a2. It can't get back and defend your e pawn or play on the f file. It's really stuck out of the way. So to me, if you could play rook b1, it would be okay. Still b3 would be better. But rook a2, you should work hard to find a way to not play rook a2 here. Because we want to get to the point where it becomes obvious to you that your rook is passive here. It's guarding your b2 pawn and your a4 pawn, and can never team up with your other pieces. Like, it'll take a long time to start working together with your knight and your rook, your other rook.
No.
Really out of play. So b3 comes with tempo, that's nice, but the more important part in my mind is that rook a2 gets your rook out of the game. It's not a lost game here, but it's one of the reasons that you lost this game, I think, is rook a2, because it made the rest of your moves much harder to find, because you started playing with one less piece. And we'll look at that. c6. Okay. King f2. It's a good idea to get your king in the game. It's just harder tactically now that your a2 rook is out of it. Okay. You start trying to pressure. After c6, he's creating a weakness. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this stuff. b3, f5. And we'll just kind of play out the game. Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, from here. From here I know the game again how it ended. It was not good for me.
Yeah.
He just made it me with the rooks, I guess.
It's critical. It's getting critical, right? And you play here a decent move. Rook a1. But the fact that was a good move, in my opinion, says how bad rook a2 was. Like, it's way better on a1 where it has a chance to swing over for defense. So he occupies the 7th row. Super dangerous, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Knight e4. What would you do instead of knight e4 if you had the chance now?
If I can now play again, I would maybe... what's about rook c1?
Which rook?
Oh, like the a rook.
Yeah. Much better placed on c1 than a2 to guard the c thing, because you have an opportunity to get it back in the game. So let's say he passes. Now what?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to try to get him out of your area?
Like a rook f1 is really forcing, I guess. Rook f1 is one way to fight to get in a better position for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I would stick with that.
All right. And if that kind of thing follows, maybe you're okay.
But then also his knight has no real attack at me afterwards, and I can just try to improve my position.
Yeah. You could also try like knight e4. But you'd have to make sure you can't go rook e2 and bring this rook down, right? So what happens after rook e2?
After rook f2, right?
Well, let's say you go knight e4 and he goes rook e2. What would you do?
I think taking the pawn on d6 is not the way to play this, because then he can bring his rook on the f line and is just a bulldozer in my area and just tries everything.
Yeah.
And I don't like destroying bulldozer rocks in my area.
Yeah.
Nothing personal against bulldozers, but I don't like this. I have nothing to say about knight g3.
All right. Well, it's knight g3. You could also play rook e1, right?
Mm-hmm. Then still have the attack going on his d pawn.
Yeah. But it doesn't feel a lot worse for you, does it? Like, you're okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's. I'm gonna turn on the computer for a second. Make sure. Yeah, it says rook e2, rook e1, rook take, slight edge for white. Everything's good.
We are even leading the entrances. Right?
Yeah, but it's just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, but a little bit better than nothing.
All right, so we'll look at how the game finished, but you know, you mixed it up.
Yeah.
He got his rook here.
I didn't see how strong his rooks were.
Yeah, but
then I just walk into my death.
yeah, this is one way to learn a pattern, right? Like now you really fear the double rooks on the second rank. So at the beginning, you know, I showed you, you know, 6-ish mates with rooks. And that's one way to learn. The other way to learn is to do it once, but have it really hurt.
that really hurts, actually.
Yeah.
Lesson.
I could see this one really hurt, but you're going to remember this pattern.
This knight was really
Yeah.
hard there at the end.
Yeah. So I thought you played very well this game. There's a few, you know, minor issues. I think that this pawn structure is really instructive if you were to give it lots of attention. As soon as you push this was, you know, the cause of your problems, giving up this spot for his knight. But it was still a fight. But when you play rook a2, you get your rook out of the game. You still have another chance coming up here after you play the excellent rook a1. But you gotta play rook c1 and work to get.
It was really long. The entrance is really long. It was a perfectly draw. Then I didn't see the bulldozer tactic.
Yeah. To me, a lot of the bigger mistakes are ones that the engine think aren't it necessarily that big a deal. Like when you play rook a2 here. Like, computer likes b3, but you know, it thinks this is only a 0.5 difference, rook a2. But it just makes your game much harder to play. It just means you have to play a lot more accurately. Yeah. So getting a little of those moves that get your pieces out of play is going to have a way bigger difference in your game than, you know, studying every tactical mistake that the computer finds. Anyway, so that's all I had. So I'm hoping that was helpful, and if you ever want to do it again, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure. But first of all, thank you really much again for the lesson. Like, I learned a lot, actually. Like, even the way you not only taught me one pattern, you especially taught me how to learn patterns. It's important. So yes, I thank you really much for the lesson.
All right, great. All right, that was fun, and I'm appreciative of folks that could join us. if there are other people that are interested in a free lesson sometime, or giving me a free lesson sometime, either one, feel free to just send me a message. I'm not the best chess player you'll find on the streaming world. I'm just here to enjoy a little chess in my retirement, and it's more fun to do with company. So thanks for joining. Bye.